what we put into our bodies, that topic of the day. You know, we're all becoming bores about this subject. I think, you know, eat what makes you happy. Eat in moderation. Sometimes eat in excess if you're feeling like it. Find other things to concern yourself that make you happy or make you interesting to other people. Don't assume what you put in your gob is something that actually makes me more interested and more ingratiated towards you, because it doesn't. I don't care. Yeah. I find food actually is actually becoming a fetish. The new fetish we're all working towards. It's like a sex dungeon. We're all like going out to specialty food places, and they're making food in a very particular way, and they're charging a fortune for it. And people are like, you know, worshipping this strange drug. Well, no, I haven't got an end to that. Sorry. I really thought I was building up to something.
Yeah, it petered out, but it was, I liked it.
What you're saying is completely true, because that's what annoys me about this new nutritionist movement. It's like any of your life problems can now be solved by eating a really sort of lean bit of salad sandwich. You're stressed. You're not stressed because your husband's just had an affair.
No.
You're stressed because you need to leave out gluten.
Yeah. What's the fucker in your life?
Yeah.
Having it with you for years.
Yeah. I haven't been able to get it up lately. Okay, you need some weed juice. Oh, really? I thought it was just because I'm no longer into my wife because she's looser now.
Yeah.
What? Things are sagging. It's true though.
Looseness and sagging.
Yeah, but if you are a man or a woman and you feel a particular way about your husband, or it's just fizzled out, this guy is not attracted to his wife.
Like Frank's rant.
Yeah. Basically,
it was great at the beginning, right there. Now we'll just go through the motions.
The bearer of your children is not necessarily the tight, sweet little perk.
He keeps on saying it.
I know. I keep on going between slack and taut, but those perceptions change, and that is just the way it is. But to all of a sudden just be in this industry where you go, right, basically all of those problems are down because you're not eating the right food. Yeah. That's just a bit fucking ridiculous.
So go back to that slack and talk thing.
Slack and talk.
I want him to stop it.
That's not a sexist thing. I'm probably quite taut now in various places, and I'm not going to be in another 15 years. Yeah. How about you, Frank?
I think keep the heat on Charlie.
I don't want to discuss myself in body shape or size. I think it's an irrelevant sort of superficial level to look at the world. I think also there's more to a woman whether she stretches correctly across something, Charlie.
No, of course.
She's not a piece of leather.
I'm not saying that's the be all and end all of anything, but there are other factors involved.
You don't need a relationship counsellor, you need a reupholsterer. You know what I mean? That's your sort of problem.
Yeah.
I think we've got another caller coming up, haven't we?
Yeah, a guy called Dave Brockway. I think he's maybe a personal trainer, and he's studying nutrition. I think he's doing a nutrition degree, or he's very interested in that area. And I think he lost about 11 stone.
Wow!
At some point.
That's a person.
Yeah. So
that is me.
And I think he's very into his training and all that sort of thing. So a mate of mine recommended him because he used to be on the circuit.
All right.
Used to be a great comic, and he's not doing that anymore now. But he said it'd be good to get him involved.
Well, let's dial him in and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, not bad.
Good. So thanks for agreeing to talk to us on this podcast. I'm in the room with Frank Cassidy and Charlie Stanton.
Hi, Dave.
Hello.
How's it going?
Right.
There's obviously, in terms of dieting and sort of nutrition information, there's obviously a lot of bullshit out there. So we just wondered, with your sort of experience, if you've got a take, an opinion on sort of the information that's out there, like versus the information that's worth listening to, or just your experience in that sort of fitness field.
I'd say if anyone's serious about losing weight, the best way to do it is to eat fresh foods, nothing out of a packet. And that's the only way to do it. It's got nothing to do with calories, how many fats, carbohydrates, anything else like that to do with sort of thing. It's mainly processed foods and how it's made, how it's produced, and that's actually the worst thing for you, to be honest. The word diet I can't stand, because for the simple reason, diet it sort of implicates the use of implicates sort of cutting things out of your diet, and I think most of the problem is that people don't get the right nutrition, and that's where the problem stems from.
Yeah, which is why they're hungry, right?
Yeah.
So that word diet, I think psychologically it makes you feel as if you're missing out, doesn't it? Like you've given something up.
Yeah. miss out 4 basic food groups, starve yourself for 3.5 weeks, and magically you lose a bit of weight. But don't worry, you'll put it all back on again once you start eating normally. But do you think that the nutrition area is just so overcomplicated now unnecessarily that people just simply don't know what way is up?
I think it's a marketing tool. I think if you look, there's a lot of diets that work under similar principles, and they're obviously marketed in certain ways. For instance, the paleo diet or the caveman diet.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the sort of natural history museum and you speak to any experts on the Paleolithic times, they won't know what the hell you're on about.
Yeah. No.
Because, it's just marketed as, this is how we looked. I mean, how did anyone look as cavemen anyway? You don't know. I mean, were cavemen walking around with 6-packs, or did they? Did they have a number of health
actually live in caves?
we don't even really don't know from that. So,
exactly.
A lot of these things are marketing tools. For instance, the Atkins diet is eat all the things you like and thing, but low carb diets have been around since the 40s.
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but what would you say, Dave? I mean, out of all the diets that are out there, which would you say deserves the most ridicule?
I think there's no right diet for anyone. So to say, I mean, most ridiculous ones. I mean, I've heard, I get a lot of the people come to me, they want personal training, and they say, well, look, my brother told me if I just eat tomatoes and cheese for a week, I'll and you kind of go,
a carbless pizza.
Okay, there is that sort of, I don't know, street science approach to things.
Yeah.
Where kind of people say, yeah, all I did is eat oranges for a week, or I've heard that my friend's cousin's brother ate oranges for a week and lost 3 stone. Well, yeah, probably did, but on account of decomposing after death, probably.
He just turned into ash.
My part, I was talking about this earlier on, but my partner went on the lighter life diet, and I just watched this thing in horror as it was happening. She was just eating 500 calories a day of these kind of strange shakes.
The Cambridge diet as well. And that's another one. That's 600-700 calories a day, sometimes even less, and it's a liquid diet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And all you actually lose on that diet is water, muscle tissue, and then eventually after about 3 or 4 weeks of eating 600-700 calories, you actually eat into bone. Yeah. So, not the ideal diet. I mean, it works, but I think again people fixate on scales as well, and actually you can lose very little weight and look totally different, and then you can lose a lot of weight and look exactly the same, because all you're actually using is water and decomposing muscle. So really, ideally you just want to keep hold of the muscle. Yeah. And that's a totally different situation that anything diets seem to do, because all they seem to do is focus on the number on the scales.
Yeah.
Dave, obviously you're coming from a position where you did lose weight, right? I mean, I think you mentioned that earlier on, and it's quite a considerable amount of weight. I mean, it's actually, Charlie is actually 11 stone.
I'm 10.5.
10.5, so actually you lost slightly more than Charlie.
I've lost Charlie, basically.
Yeah. I mean, wow, we lost Charlie. But I mean, can I ask you, if you don't mind, if it's not too personal, when you were actually as heavy as you were, what motivated you to lose the weight? Did you feel it was pressure from other people, or did you actually genuinely want to change yourself?
Well, first of all, there's only so long one man can go without sex.
Yeah, there we are.
No,
how long is it? Because Frank wants to know that.
I was a jobbing stand-up at the time, and I was actually starting to black out and fall off stage. And unfortunately, sometimes that was the biggest laugh I got.
Really?
And it was one of the nights, and I bent down to pick up the microphone stand, and I literally blacked out, fell off a stage that was about 10 foot high. And landed in a table full of candles.
Why were you blacking out?
There was a reviewer in that night who actually said that was the funniest part of my act. So, obviously that was worrying. And then I started blacking out, and then I went to the doctors and he did a number of tests on me. And basically, every affiliation, everything you can affiliate with sort of being obese, I had. And I was living a pretty unhealthy lifestyle, and he said to me, "You're 36 now. You're not probably going to make 37." So, I kind of transformed from that to kind of going the other end of the extreme, being sort of extremely fit, where I've run sort of half marathons. Yeah. I can compete at weightlifting and that type of thing now. So within 6 months, I'd lost sort of 6-7 stone. So I really went through it when I first started losing weight, and I did try to go back to stand up, but I don't think it was the fact, obviously. I addressed that, but I think obviously people's views of you change. There is something funny about someone being flawed. Obviously, society views you being overweight as being something that's flawed, and I think that gives you that sort of enduring quality that people look for in a stand-up. Yeah. And there was something quite funny about a 22-stone guy jumping about the shade, shouting and screaming in the way I used to do my act. And I think there's something about someone that looks quite normal that kind of doesn't have that same presence. So obviously I had to try and change a lot of the material.
Yeah. Obviously you come in at this from a fitness training point of view again. I guess the other side of nutrition that we are talking about is this whole fad with supplements. I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, if you read the medical literature, it's pretty clear that supplements aren't the best thing to take. But is this something that you find that you deal with quite a lot with your customers and clients and whatnot?
Of course, you get people come to me and they say, if I take these tablets, that it'll help with weight loss, and if I take this, will it help with weight loss? Or I think the supplement business
billions
is a multi-billion pound business, multi-trillion pound business worldwide. So they're not going to, after all this money they've made out of multivitamin supplements. I mean, you think of companies like GlaxoSmithKline, I shouldn't probably mention them on here.
That's fine. I think we'll be right.
They produce things from Lucozade, vitamin C, Maxi Muscle, a lot of different stuff that comes under the GlaxoSmithKline thing. But unfortunately, I think some of it helps and it supplements your diet in certain ways. But to be honest, if you're not getting it from food, it's probably not going to work.
Mm. Yeah. And I think most of it they've taken out of food in the first place, haven't they?
I think processed food, definitely, without that.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking earlier on, Charlie, about, is it Linus someone?
Oh, Linus Pauling.
Linus Pauling, yeah.
Started the vitamin craze.
Yeah.
But, I guess in the gym aspects, it's more of this fucking bowing down to everything protein-based, these protein shakes, and then you get studies that have been done that show that they've got heavy metal traces in them, and you don't really want them in your blood or your brain, but no, people don't really, everybody goes on about whey protein. I mean, what's your experience with all the protein stuff?
Personally, myself, I know that they don't work.
Yeah.
If you actually take one of the better proteins, one of the more refined proteins, say if you take something that's 35 grams, only 14% of that you'll actually assimilate in the body.
Yeah.
The rest will just be excreted out because it's not a natural form of protein.
Of course not.
You can't really store protein in the body anyway, so it's not. It helps a little bit with repair, and if there is a product on the market that claims to have 53 grams of protein in, but your body can only assimilate 28 grams at each sitting, on average, depending on you, and depending on your needs and requirements. So the average person maybe only per kilo of weight only needs maybe 0.6 to 0.9 ounces of protein.
Which they can presumably get from eating
food.
1 or 2 eggs.
Yeah.
Exactly. Rather than a bucket of fucking protein powder that they've just got from a Lonsdale shop. It scares me.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, we were talking about this earlier, and I sort of gave what I thought. I mean, I'm not an incredibly fit guy. I'm not overweight. I don't really go to the gym a lot. I cycle a little bit, but that's kind of about it. But my view on gyms is every time I've actually gone to a gym, I end up feeling like I'm just sort of surrounded by sort of narcissists. Do you know what I mean? I actually feel like, people are so good, have such fit bodies, and the gyms themselves have wall to ceiling mirrors all the way around, and people are working out the whole time. I actually feel very self-conscious. I mean, do you find that yourself, or do you find there's an element of that?
Well, I work in a gym, and
I appreciate that. That's why I asked,
The reason I work in that particular gym is actually there is a section of the gym that doesn't have any mirrors, and there is a reason for that. And I think the reason being Instagram, because you don't really want someone lifting up the shirt, taking a picture of their abs in the middle of your workout when you're feeling a little bit out of shape.
Right.
Yeah, feeling a little bit self-conscious about yourself. And actually, a lot of the people I deal with are actually people that have spent 4 months building up the courage to just walk in the door and join the gym. And
it's a big deal, isn't it?
It's hell for them. And, so I totally agree with you. And I also think it's a slightly irrational fear as well, but it is a fear. Nevertheless, that, you do feel a little bit intimidated when you do walk into a gym.
Thanks very much, Dave. Just before we go, would you like to plug anything you're working on?
No, I mean, if anyone